Good morning, everyone. Good evening, and good afternoon to viewers from all walks of life. This is Desmos, and you are welcome to the channel of truth, enlightenment, freedom, and the channel of breaking empaths free. If you are new, on this channel I talk about narcissism and narcissistic abuse, I talk about spirituality, and I talk about personal and self-development. And in case one of that stuff resonates with you, I invite you guys to join us, give us a like, and share this video with friends, and you may subscribe if you haven't already. And for those that have always been with us, you are welcome back, and I thank you for your love and support. I've been compelled to do a video about the second awakening, and I'm going to take you guys behind the veil of what is going to happen when you're waking up for the second time. You see, awakening is not going to only happen on the very first beginning of that. It's not going to happen once. So the more you pierce through the veil, is the more you are going to start awakening to so many different kinds of things, people, places, and everything around you. So everything around you, your whole environment is actually going to alter. I've been inspired. This video has been inspired by a client. I had a client and also a subscriber recently who actually reached out to me, and they told me that now, after a very long period of time of them leaving their narcissistic partner, they're starting to see a lot of these individuals, including family members, sometimes even friends or things like that. They are starting to now pierce through the illusion, and now they are actually now starting to see these particular individuals who have always been close to them. They are starting to figure them out for who they really are. This has happened along my journey, guys. This has happened along my journey. And normally on this channel, I've usually talked about waking up from narcissistic abuse. You know what I mean? So because it's the awakening process that is going to help you to unplug from that partnership, wherever it is, wherever the person has been, whoever the person has been, whether they have been your wife, partner, maybe sometime friends or whatever it is. So if those individuals have been in your circle and you have awakened, you'll usually unplug out of that partnership or even sometimes that friendship. Now, usually what will happen is you're going to go out of that partnership and you're going to start working on yourself. So the very thing what will happen is that usually the individuals, they get out of those partnerships, they go out, they start to putting in the work. In this case, I'm talking about the empaths. I don't know about other individuals, but usually I talk about the empaths. So the empaths, you get out there, you start investing in yourself, you start working on yourself, you start to go through a lot of spiritual detox, physical detox, mental detox. So now you start to lighten up. And the more you lighten up is also the more, because what happens is that during the process of lightening up, the more lighter you become is the harder you pierce through the veil. And mostly, normally, what usually happens with most of the individuals, including me, this has happened along my journey. When you awaken, usually you have got to know, before the awakening process, you have been vibrating on the NARC frequency. To understand what a NARC frequency is, you're vibrating at that frequency whereby you've been attracting a lot of narcissists, a lot of all these toxic individuals, psychopaths and whatever. So you may even sometimes find, besides the person you've been dating, besides the person who's been sleeping with you next to your bed, you've been attracting a lot of individuals even in your workplaces, sometimes in your communities, in your societies. So whichever place you have been vibrating. As long as you've been involved with the narcissist, you have been vibrating and attracting a lot of other narcissistic individuals around you. It's just because you were too blind to see that at that moment. Now you will awaken from that partnership. You will get out, go through the detox, work on yourself, heal, and do this kind of work. This process, usually, it will take you up to a year. That process of going through the mental and spiritual detox or even physical detox, it will take you up to a year. I don't know about you, but usually for me, it has taken me like a year of detoxing. And the more I detoxed, because remember, a person who has awakened now, they start to become very, very curious about their lives, their own personal lives. And now they start to go within, they start to introspect, they start to try to find out exactly who they are, because a lot of people, the awakening usually takes them by surprise. So when you're going through the detox, when you're going through the healing, the work, you're putting in the work and everything, that is actually on the spiritual level, you are harder actually piercing deeper into the veil. Or I can call it, you're actually going more and more down the rabbit hole. And what is going to happen is, a lot of these people who have been in your circle, now we're not talking about the partner you've been dating or your husband or wife or whatever. We're talking about the people who have been around your circle, your friends, your closest friends, or sometimes, even sometimes it could be even family members. Those individuals, I can guarantee you guys, because as long as you have been vibrating on the NARC frequency earlier on, those individuals, they have also been part of the problem. A lot of them have been part of the problem. Yes, they will stay with you. You will come around and tell them what has been happening. You tell them about your partnership, what has been going on. You will tell them about your toxic ex or things like that. You'll be now confiding a lot of information in those individuals. You'll be telling them everything. But I can guarantee you that most of the things you're talking about, those individuals, they already understand what is going on. So most of the cases, you're even sometimes going to talk about the things, you might even sometimes talk about your ex-partner, for example, your ex-toxic partner. And most of the characteristics, or even sometimes the personality you explain it to those individuals, it is the same personality or the same character they are embodying at that particular moment. So what is going to happen is that you are going to start exposing these individuals without even knowing it. So you will sit down with your mother, you will tell them, oh, you know what, you've been dating the narcissist for this and this amount of time and this and that. So you start to now bring out everything to the surface, because remember, guys, during the healing process, you start to bring out everything to the surface. So you start to explain a lot of your incidents, a lot of these events to those guys who have been around you, your friends and this and that, sometimes even workmates. The individuals you're involved with, guys, I can guarantee you that 90% of them, they have been even part of the problem. The individuals themselves you are explaining these things to, they themselves, they are the narcissist. It may happen sometimes that you're explaining these things to an overt narcissist, but most of the cases it has happened that actually the people you confide in, the very first people you talk to. Now, I want you guys to pay very close attention to this. The very first person you talk to when you leave a narcissist is the exact problem. That person that you talk to, the very first person you meet and you explain your situation, mostly 110%, those individuals, the first people you talk with, they are also narcissists. It is going to take you time to figure this out. It will take you, it took me almost a year to figure this out. You know what I mean? So for me, it took me by surprise, because now later on, when I started to do the work, going within and doing all these kind of things, I started now to understand exactly most of the individuals have been around me. I started to see them for who they are. Because remember, guys, when you awaken, when the veil is lifted, now you can start to look behind the veil. And normally, most of the things you're going to see behind the veil, they're not going to be very, very, they're not going to be, it's not going to be a pretty sight. They're not going to be the things you want to see. It is going to shock you. It is going to take you by surprise that the individuals have always been involved with, guys. I can guarantee you most of the cases, 110%, those individuals, they have usually been the problem. So the second awakening happens. It is going to take a while. Normally, a lot of people have been asking me about this awakening, because a lot of people are not aware about the second awakening. So the second awakening usually takes a lot of time. It can even take you between a period of 6 months, maybe to a year or something like that. But me personally, it took me up to a year to actually figure out that the individuals that I actually decided to hang on to after leaving the narcissist, those particular individuals were the problem. It's just because I was always all my life very and too blind to figure it out and too blind to see this. So the second awakening happened, and when the second awakening happened, that's when I started to see family members for who they are. Now, I've got a lot of comments recently about family members. Some people have started to see family members turning against them because some people have awakened, and now they're starting to figure out that actually some of their family members, they're starting to become a problem. They're starting to become toxic. They're starting to be abusive. They're starting to be manipulative or things like that. I will guarantee you guys, the very first thing what you will do when you awaken, the very first thing what you will do, you're going to go closer to family members, because most of the times your ego is actually protecting those individuals. Because your ego thinks that, okay, so these are your family members, so they need to be a part of you. They're supposed to be a part of you. Yes, on a physical perspective, they're supposed to be a part of you. But when you awaken, you go behind the veil. You're looking at things in a spiritual perspective. So on the physical perspective, yes, they're going to be your brothers and your sisters in your blood family. They're individuals that you will always respect. They're individuals you always keep around you. But on a very spiritual level, people, I can guarantee you, most of those individuals, they have not got your best interest at heart. And many of them, they have always been part of the problem. Because like I've said, narcissism is not only confined to the person you've been dating at that moment. Narcissism, when you've been dating, when you've awakened from narcissism, from a narcissist, you're going to start looking back, and you're going to now start to understand that actually this whole thing has always been a part of your life. So it has already been an infection that has been going on within even your own family circle. So the second awakening will actually make you realize that actually your closest, the people that you have always been involved, the family that you have, the only family you have left, I can put it the words like this, the only family you have left, those particular individuals, most of them, if not even the ones at the top, we're talking about the parents or things like that, most of them, they have always been covert narcissists. But now that you're piercing through the veil, you can be able to see them for who they are. So sometime you're going to awaken. The second awakening will happen whereby you're going to awaken to your own father, your own mother. It is the most painful thing you will ever experience, because remember, you have already thought that you have gotten rid of the problem initially by waking up on the first time. You will think that the problem has been wiped out initially, but I can guarantee you guys the second awakening, usually it takes a lot of individuals by surprise. I'm talking about individuals who have been involved with dealing with narcissists. So the second awakening, if you have done that, if you have gone through the first awakening, maybe you have left your partners or things like that, you can always prepare for the second awakening. That second awakening will come, but it will come after a very long period of time. It may take a couple of months, it could take a year, but it is going to happen whereby now you may even sometimes wake up to your own son, your own daughter. They're going to start to do things that you're already familiar with. They're going to start to do things, and even most of the time, because usually when you awaken, when the veil has been lifted, it is like now your higher self can look through people exactly for who they are. That's one of the reasons why actually most of the individuals, when you awaken, when they start to figure out what you're awakening, some of them, they will start to separate themselves from you, because anything they say, it is like now you can see everybody in naked form. You can strip everybody naked. Anybody comes in front of you, whatever it is they got to say, whatever it is they got to do, you've already figured it out. You already know what they're all about. You already know what they want to do. So most of the cases, that is what happens with individuals that are involved with you. You will see them for who they are. It will take you a lot of time to figure it out, because most of the times the mind is busy going through healing. The mind is busy trying to figure out things by yourself, trying to heal, trying to detox, and these things like that. That period is going to take you a lot of time, because like for the guys who are into spirituality, I don't know if you are a religious person or a spiritual person, but me personally, I'm a spiritual person. So I was doing a lot of spiritual practices to get out of this kind of cycle. And that is the moment exactly when a lot of people started exposing themselves. This is going to include, again, your own family members, your friends, your best friend at high school, your workmates or things like that. A lot of individuals, guys, I will guarantee you, the NAC frequency only attracts toxic people. The NAC frequency only attracts toxic people. So a lot of people that have been involved in your circle, so many of them, it will be, guys, it will be overwhelming for you to understand that actually most of those individuals, they have always been the problem. And again, when that happens, when the second awakening happens to you, you do the same thing like you did in the first place. So we are coming to the solution now. When you figure out, you start to see patterns, familiar patterns. Like for me, I used to see familiar patterns in my circle and everything. You do the same thing you did before. You get out of those individuals. It does not matter, guys. I will guarantee you, most of the time, the ego is the only one keeping you with toxic people, because the ego wants them to be around you so that they can continue manipulating you and doing all those things that they have always done to you before. But on the journey of spiritual growth, because awakening is going to put you on a journey of spiritual growth. So you're going to understand that a person to grow, you grow as an individual. You don't grow as a collective. Whatever it is you decide to do for yourself, whether it is a journey you've decided to take, a platform you decided to open up, a book you decided to write, there is nobody who is going to come along with you. The very moment you awaken and you understand that those particular individuals, the ones that have been close to you, they are having a lot of narcissistic patterns, behavior or things like that, you do not have to wait for the confirmation. Guys, you have got to start packing your bags and you do the same thing like you did in the first place. You get out of there. Which is going to bring us to the next video, the exact reason why usually you're going to find yourself very, very lonely. In most of the cases, you're going to be isolated, because when you're awakening and starting a journey of spiritual growth and evolution, you're also going to notice that actually it's a very lonely journey, because it's not everybody, there's nobody to see around you. Everybody has disappeared into thin air and nobody wants even to support you. So that's going to be a next video. But when the second awakening has happened, I would like to know in the comment section below. If it has not happened, I will guarantee you it is going to happen. I just encourage you to keep on working on yourself. Do the work, put in the work, detox, Do whatever it is you want to do to make sure that you get your health back and your sanity back, mental and physical and spiritually. And eventually, guys, I can guarantee you, you are now going to start looking close around you, and you're going to figure out your parents, your uncles, your brothers, your sisters, your closest friends that have always been with you for years. They have always been part of the problem, and it may take you by surprise. But I can guarantee you that when you're dealing with narcissists, you can expect anything. The second awakening will happen, and I would like to know in the comment section below what you guys think about this video. If it makes sense, give us a like, guys. Don't always forget to comment. Leave us a comment and subscribe if you haven't already. And until then, guys, I'll catch you in my next video. Much love and blessings. There's almost signing out. Peace.